For 2023, our newest inductee is Mel Collazo. Introducing Mel is probably the most awarded college coach in the history of Arkansas. Who knows? I think so. Craig Ward.
I hate following you guys. This is tough, and sitting there listening to the things that you guys were saying started making me question what I had to say. Maybe want to change it up. I'm going to try to stay on script here. One of the great things about being able to introduce not only a great tennis player, but a great friend, is it gives you time to reflect on that friendship and the things that you would like for other people to understand about that person. Not just as a tennis player, but as a person, more importantly, Buddy, as you so adequately mentioned right there. And as I began to think about what I was going to say about my good friend Mel, two words really jumped out at me. One was excellence in everything that he does, everything that he attempts. The other is generosity. And Mel and I got to know each other probably around 1977. Larry Walton, who you keep coming back into these conversations over and over, when you hired me to do an internship at Burns Park. And I got to know Mel as he was at Pleasant Valley at that time, or maybe even Westside then, I'm not for sure. But through that, we just kind of had an immediate bonding. Sometimes you meet people and you know that you click with that person. And that's the way it was with Mel and I. Whoops. Drop down here. But I'm going to try to stay on script here, and y'all want to hear from Austin and from Mel pretty quick. So I'll try to get on through this as quickly as possible, but adequately. Mel's been associated with Arkansas tennis for over 45 years. He first came to Arkansas as a college player at UALR in 1975 with Larry. During that time, he played #1 singles and doubles. After college, he played on the Pro Tour and was also the director of tennis at Pleasant Valley Country Club. While competing, Mel finished third in the Men's Southern Singles Championships and won the Men's Southern Doubles Championships. He also attained several #1 rankings in mixed doubles in the South and later played in the U.S. Open mixed doubles qualifying draw. He was also #7 in the South ranking-wise. There's a nice little bio in that program that you can read about some of those things. About this time, Mel took a break from competitive tennis to pursue a career in orthodontistry and facial orthopedics. While attending the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and UCLA, he served as president of his class at both universities. Now, one thing that Mel very seldom will tell anybody is that UCLA is the #1 ranked orthodontic school in the world, not just the United States. Mel graduated #1 in his class at both of those universities, at Kansas City and UCLA. After a successful career in Los Angeles, he, Sherry, and the boys returned to Little Rock. I can remember talking to Mel about this. Actually, it was after I went down, after Kim and I came over to your house, and we went down in the, I don't know if the game room or whatever you call it down there in the basement. And I'm looking on this wall, and I see these pictures of Sharon Stone, Cher, all these, some of these movie stars. And I'm starting to think, well, he likes to collect movie star memorabilia from when he was in Los Angeles. And then I look a little bit closer, and it says, "Thank you, Dr. Collazo, for the work that you did." And I'm going, my goodness. So when Mel moved back to Arkansas, he started to practice in Arkadelphia. And not long, and I live in Arkadelphia. And Kim and I live in Arkadelphia. And so not long, it didn't take very long for me to find out people coming to me and saying, "Yeah, my kids are having their teeth worked on by Dr. Collazo." And I said, "Dr. Collazo?" I said, what do you mean, Dr. Collazo? I said, which Collazo? Because Mel also has a brother who's a dentist, Ed. And they said, Mel Collazo. I said, you're kidding. What's he doing here in Arkadelphia? The last I knew, he was in Los Angeles. They said, I don't know. But you two ought to get together. And I said, yeah, we really should get together. We've known each other for however many years. Well, Mel and I used to have Wednesday nights about once a month where we would get together and we'd swap stories and tell lies and reminisce about things that happened back in the day. And one night I asked Mel, I said, Mel, why did you and Sherry move back, you and the boys move back to Arkansas? And he began to share with me that he had a very successful practice in Los Angeles, but they didn't want to raise the boys in that atmosphere. And that regardless of how successful he was going to be in that atmosphere, he was much more concerned about raising their boys and them being in an atmosphere that they felt like was going to benefit them and make them fine young men, which it has. This thing keeps falling. When they moved back, Mel immediately began to, this is where the generous part comes in, immediately began to use his resources to sponsor and donate to tournaments, universities, high schools around the area, and those institutions have benefited tremendously. He's also involved in the Little Rock Open. He served as chairman in the Little Rock Open and continues to be involved in that. But Mel picked up almost a second tennis career in a way. He stepped away from it as a younger man, got involved back in the competitive aspect of tennis, probably about, 2010, somewhere around in there. And in recent years, Mel's been selected several times to be a member of the esteemed United States Gordon Cup team. Gordon Cup team is the second oldest international cup team, second only to the Davis Cup. In 2010, Mel was a member of the Team Southern that won the National Intersectional Championships. In 2015, Mel and his doubles partner achieved #1 U.S. national ranking. Mel's also the proud recipient of 3 prestigious U.S. National Championship tennis balls. They don't give those away. You got to earn those. You can't buy those either. Mel continues to chair and has been president of many prestigious national dentistry and orthodontic organizations. On a couple of times I've called Mel to eat and see if he wanted to schedule a Wednesday night, and he'd say, well, no. He said, I'm speaking tonight, or this week. I really can't. I said, you're speaking the whole week. I said, where are you speaking? And he said, well, right now I'm in Paris. I said, Paris, Arkansas? Are you going to speak it? No, not Paris, Arkansas. As well known as Mel, how many of y'all knew Dr. Collazo as Mel? Raise your hands, please. A lot of people here. And Mel's a fine tennis player. Buddy, you're talking about the toss, and all that kind of stuff. Huge serve. It just scared me watching Mel serve and seeing it coming at me. But Mel is probably more well known internationally for his orthodontic and dentistry work, especially the orthodontics, than he is as a tennis player here. He's invented equipment in that area. And again, that's one of those things that we don't know very much about, that he really doesn't share very much. But he is very well known internationally for his medical proficiency. Last year, he retired from treating patients, but he still continues to lecture around the world. He's also a deputy sheriff in Clark County and has served on the board of the FBI Citizens Academy. And I think he's going to do breathalyzer tests after y'all walk out, so you better be sure you're walking a straight line. He still says that one of the most cherished achievements is being named Arkansas Tennis Family of the Year. Mel and his family have given their time, talents, and resources to support Arkansas tennis, and I know that we're all very grateful. Austin, I'm going to ask you to come up here and say a little bit about your dad. Speaking of Arkansas Tennis Family of the Year, so be nice, be kind.
Nothing planned here at all, but I don't get to come home that often, and This is a special occasion. My name's Austin. I'm the son of Mel Collazo, one of them. For me, it's honestly, I've kind of been emotional being here and even like traveling back for this. As much as I kind of like have like my life in a different city right now, as soon as I heard that this was happening, like I really wanted to come, and that even kind of confused me. I was just like, it's some event for my dad, but I've like been bragging on him actually to some of my friends who don't even know my dad. I'm like I say the full thing. I'm not like it's this event for my dad. I'm like, no, he's getting inducted into the Arkansas Tennis Hall of Fame. And I don't know, I guess like maybe I'm reaching this age or this stage where I realize like not everything revolves around me actually. And I'm getting to this place of like, oh, he was actually a better tennis player than I ever was. And that being said, my dad, I mean, again, like I'm like realizing these things real time, but my dad gave up, I mean, literally almost every single weekend for so many years of my junior tennis career. And we traveled all over the country, and he got me playing to a national level. And it was like the best thing of my life. And I mean, I didn't even realize what he was doing. And he would coach me when I asked him to coach me, and he would not coach me when I asked him to not coach me. And like, that's just hard for any human to do. Like he would try to draw those boundaries and be healthy about it. And so yeah, he's done a ton of tennis and it has a ton of achievements, but he's also just been like a hell of a dad and a coach for me. And yeah, thanks a lot, Dad, for all the sacrifices you made. Yeah, and then my mom this morning, like I came home, I just flew in today, and I came home and my mom had this whole thing set up for my dad with like a bunch of his old tennis pictures. And I've like never been more jealous in my life. I'm like, holy smokes, he like looks good. His like form is incredible. He's in the newspaper. And that's like all I'm trying to get to, and he's already done it. So it's, I don't know. I'm like having this weird thing where kind of the tables have turned, and I'm just realizing how much he's done and how many people know him here and appreciate him. And so I'm really honored to be here. I'm honored to celebrate you here, Dad. And I think that everything that you have done is truly amazing, and especially in tennis and obviously in a lot of other areas of your life. And all those times you told me when we were taking weekend trips, like, you know, what tournaments you had played, or you know, the fact that you played the qualifying for the U.S. Open, and I was just like, bah, you know. I hear it a little bit now, you know, and I think that it's really, really cool. So I'm proud of you, and yeah, very, very, very proud. So.
Come on up.
Wow, I really don't know how to follow that one, because he just got up here and did that. He didn't know he was going to speak. We thought we only had one. We could have one person speak about you. And then I guess my wife talked to him and said, "Hey, you want to say something about Dad?" And he said, "Totally," and that was totally unscripted. And I was thinking, "Oh hell, what's he going to say?" You know, we just never know our kids, you know. And then I'm thinking, well, he's pretty grown up. Well, I think he's pretty grown up. He's not going to say anything really bad, but thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. And if any of you probably know him, he can talk pretty easily. If you have Amazon Prime, I'm putting a plug in for you. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch some of the movies he starred in and co-starred in, and you could, I think he put out a new song last week. So he's got a new CD out, and if you have, I hope I'm saying this right, he didn't tell me to say this, but if you have Spotify, you can look up his songs. Just Google his name, and you'll see some of his movies. And so, you got to push the thumbs up or the like. Oh, you got to push the like. I'm learning some of this. So, hey, there's a plug for you, Austin. So I wish I could have been successful in those kind of ways too. So, and then to my friend for over 45 years, we said 45 plus years, Craig, I don't know what to say. You've just been wonderful. I didn't go to your university, but I love giving money to you, and I can't. That hurts me to say that, But I know what a wonderful program you've had there, and like Gary Jones said, just absolutely amazing how many conference championships and on the national scene every year, just about. And I know those players not only consider you their coach, you're kind of like a father away from home. You and Kim, father and mother away from home. So I know how much that means to you. And I'm going to talk about somebody everybody else has talked about, Larry, because he was like that to me and my doubles partner when we came up here, my doubles partner from Sweden. So I'll talk a little bit about that. But I also want to thank the Arkansas Tennis Association, the patrons, Arkansas Tennis Patrons Foundation, and actually even almost more so the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. And they probably thought, God, he's getting pretty old. We better get him in there before he falls over. And so whatever the case may have been, I certainly am very appreciative. And to my good friend, where's Buddy? I saw him over, Buddy. Not only my good friend, my former doubles partner, we've all played a little doubles with you, haven't we? And we've had the best time. And I've got some stories. I'm not going to quite share mine. They're pretty bad, but they're good when we were growing up. But I couldn't share some. But I will tell one story in just a little while. But heck, I'll tell that story right now. Buddy and I played in. Buddy and I hadn't played for a while because I went away and did my dental school, my orthodontic residency, and all that when I was at UCLA. And when I came back, I said. By the way, good-looking pants you got on there, Bo. Buddy, I came back and I said, Buddy, we had happened to talk. We ran into each other one day. I said, Buddy, let's come out of retirement and play some tennis again. And I hadn't picked up a racket in 25 years, except to move it from one place to another every time we moved. And so Buddy said, yeah, let's do this. And so I said, we're going to play, there's a tournament in Jackson, Mississippi. It's called the Southern Open Clay Courts. Is that what it's called? And so Buddy and I went down, and this is the only story I'm going to tell, but Buddy and I went down to Jackson, Mississippi. We had a great time just reliving how great we thought we were on the drive down. And we thought, oh, we're going to go down. We're so great. We're going to get our butts kicked down there, because we hadn't played a tournament. And so we went down there. We hit on the clay courts, and we just all of a sudden we win one match, and then we win another match, and we started playing pretty good. And I said, we are pretty good, Buddy. And then in the semifinals, we played a team. They were probably about like number 7 or 8 in the country, and Buddy and I were in our 50s, and we had a tough match. It was a third set and 6-4, and I was playing so good. It was probably the best match I've played, maybe even ever. Buddy will tell you that. He said, man, you just played unbelievable. I played a really good match. I could go high and low, and Buddy was more like, always pretty good, And Buddy, most everybody will tell you that Buddy had the finest hands when he was at the net. It's just incredible. He said he didn't move that fast, but he seemed to always be there where the ball was. And he had such good anticipation and such great hands. And I don't think anybody would ever doubt that has ever played with him or against him. But I played so well in that match, and Buddy was patting me on the back. Man, you played. And anyway, we won. I think it was like 6-4 in the third set. And then I said, Buddy, we got the real match coming up. And I looked over, I said, Buddy, look who's watching us play. It's the number 2 doubles team in the country. This was in the 50s, and, old guys tennis, but they were still pretty good. And they were the number 1 and 2 seeds in singles. And so Kevin Manning and Paul Moss, one was from New York, the other one, Kevin Manning was from Florida. Number 2 doubles team in the country in the 50s. And they had been watching, and I played kind of one of the matches of my life. And so they figured out they would hit everything to Buddy. Oh, big mistake, big mistake. I was lucky that match, and when they hit everything Buddy would be at the net. He was just dink, dink, lob volley. I mean, he just ate them up. And they didn't know Buddy, and the score in the finals of the Southern Open clay court, Southern Open, it wasn't just a Southern close. People from all over the country. We won the finals and beat the number 2 team in the country, 6-1, 6-2. So, Buddy, I couldn't think, as John Bailey put it, I couldn't think of another person I'd like to be inducted with, although we have some good friends together, than with you too, my brother. Yes. And, we get a little choked up on these evenings like this, and I'm just a little choked up with gratitude. And there's so many people I'd like to thank, and if you don't mind, I appreciate you bearing with me while I do so. And since Craig did such an outstanding job of talking about my major tennis accomplishments, I'd really like to spend my time talking about what a great sport tennis is and the difference it's made in my life, not only my tennis life, but in my life in general. And I just want to personally thank those people who played a major role in my life. So, I realized, gosh, when I was young, I realized many, many years ago that tennis was really more than a game. It was a way of life and a way to grow as a person. And, there's a lot of hard work, a lot of focus on my goals. And I learned to respect yourself and respect others. And I found that it was really, truly a gift that I was able to have and at an early age that has served me my entire life. And I have been blessed with some of the most wonderful memories and some of the best mentors in my life. And I hope that I have in turn paid it forward and mentored. There's a couple of young men I'm mentoring right now to go to dental school and one to medical school. And so hopefully I've paid back and continue to pay back until that day the good Lord calls me in. But, because in the end, it's not just me up here, it's all of you that I'm going to thank now. And as far back as I can remember, my mission in life is for God, number one, as you once also said, my family, my country, my communities, and I've always tried to have those as my mission and goals in life. And the first person I would really like to thank, or first people, is Sheffield and Mary Lynn Nelson. They're not here tonight, they weren't able to be here. But when my Swedish doubles partner that I was talking about and I came here, Paul Costin, they didn't have dormitories yet. And so we had nowhere to live if we decided to come here. And so Sheffield and Mary Lynn said, well, you're going to come live with us. So they allowed us to live with them, and they fed us, and I mean, it was wonderful. And I said, man, I don't know if I ever want to move to a dorm. This is too good. But Sheffield ended up being a mentor to me in many, many ways. And most of you probably know Sheffield by maybe he was the president and CEO of Arkla Gas, or maybe when he ran for governor many years ago. But I know him as a kind and very intelligent individual who helped mentor me in many ways. And when I had talked about either going to medical school or dental school or staying as a head tennis professional at Pleasant Valley Country Club, and he helped me make choices. And when I asked him if he would be a groomsman in our wedding, there was no hesitation. It was yes. And I am so, so proud to have called him not only a groomsman, but a friend and mentor. And the same with his wife. I couldn't have had finer people, that I have ever known. Most of us And especially some of these young people. By the way, you young people that have won awards, I congratulate you. I'm really jealous of the life you have in front of you. Just incredible. I'm jealous of your youth. I look at it from on this side, and I'm looking backwards, and I'm thinking, wow, you have a lot to look forward to, so good on you. Good on you, that's what the Australians say. Yeah. Anyway, so, and then I talk about the tennis pros, and everyone who's played collegiate tennis or professional tennis, or even people that have played high school tennis or junior high tennis on teams, you've had a tennis pro work with you, more than likely. And I had three that really stick out to me. First was Doug Lang. He taught me tennis when I was young. Doug is no longer with us, but what a tennis pro you were. He always taught me that, go the distance, give your best effort, train, make yourself work, because if you don't climb the mountain, you'll never ever get to see the view. And I always thought about that, and I said, yeah, I kind of get that now. I didn't at the time, but I thought, yeah, that's so great. And then I had a coach, Lewis Hilly, who coached, some very famous players, Rudy Hernandez, he coached Cliff Drysdale, who many of you guys know. He coached a lot of good people, and he taught me, one of the biggest things that he taught me, he says, Mel, both in life and in tennis, there's something you need to know in both areas. He said, you want to end up being better tomorrow than you were today. And that's true of tennis, it's true of life, and that has always stuck with me. And thirdly, the third tennis pro, and I saved the best for last, by the way, Larry Walton. Larry, raise your hand wherever you are. I will tell you that Larry was a great tennis coach, but he was an even better tennis promoter. And to this day, he still does that. It's his life still. And even though he's been away from it for a long time, he loves tennis. Tennis flows through his veins. And his wife, Brenda, they were both great tennis players. But even more so, I appreciate them for being great people. And you have played a part in just about everybody's at this table, or those tables right there that I know, and several of you out here. You've touched the life of a lot of people, Larry. And those of you who don't know, Larry's getting not only a Hall of Famer in tennis, in Arkansas tennis, but he's just was announced not too long ago, I hope I can say this, that he's getting inducted into the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. So Larry, congratulations. And I'm just going to go through and just name some names of some people who are my dental colleagues, and some of them are here tonight, and I just wanted to say thank you. I won't go over a lot of things about them. And Dr. Ned Alley, my good friend, it's over there. Raise your hand, Ned. There he is. Ned and I have known each other for a long time, and I appreciate him and his wife, Natalie. And there was Dr. David Bell and Dr. Scott Bird, and also T. Robert Johnson, when I took his practice over, Dr. Scott Shane, who back when I came to Little Rock, nobody was doing orthodontic surgery, which is jaw surgery cases. And so when I came here, I thought, oh no, I don't have a surgeon to do jaw surgery cases with. And so, but Scott Shane came here and he finished his residency at Baylor, and he was the first one that did jaw surgery cases in Arkansas. So Scott and I, we did so many jaw surgery cases. It was really refreshing to work with him. And then there's the last person I'm going to mention is Dr. Natalia Hodge. I know she's here. Raise your hand. There she is. And Natalia has taken my practice over when I retired a year ago. And I mentioned this to somebody earlier today, but I said it to all the patients because the new patients wanted to see me because they knew me from their other kids and all that. And I think I made them feel really good when I told them this, and this was my mantra. I said, hold on a second, you don't understand how outstanding this girl is, this lady is. And I said, Dr. Hodge is not only prettier than me, she's smarter than me, she's nicer than me, but I'm taller than she is. So I think everybody felt comfortable, so thank you, Natalia. everybody loves Dr. Hodge, so thank you. Organic chemistry. I'm going to talk about two professors in my life that have affected me. Organic chemistry. If you've been in health professions or medical school or dental school, that is the weed out class, the make them or break them to get into medical school. Hardest class you can ever imagine if you guys have ever taken it. I took it 47 years ago, and who would ever hang out with their organic chemistry professor for 47 years and be friends? You know, Dr. Dominic Yang. Raise your hand, Dominic. And his wife, it's like when I left here and I practiced in Los Angeles for lots of years and I came back, it was like being back in organic chemistry. Oh no, I didn't like that. It being back with our old friendship again. So I appreciate your mentoring me and helping me along the way. The other person who was gonna come, but I asked them not to because his wife was gonna be having some surgery pretty soon, and they're in California. He was he was actually the professor of the year almost 20 years in a row. His name is Dr. Leon Rossman. And Lee Rossman was amazing, and he just has affected me in my life in so many ways, and he and I still keep in touch. In fact, they came to Arkansas a couple times to visit us, and then my wife and I are going to visit them again here in about 4 weeks or so. So we have stayed in touch. So thank you to you both, and thank you for all the encouragement. Thank you for the education that you gave me. Next, I want to talk about my fellow tennis competitors. I've had the opportunity to play against and with some great tennis competitors over my lifetime. And I can tell you that almost every person that I've played against, or played doubles with, or played mixed doubles with, they were all true sportsmen or sportswomen. And they not only had a love for the game, but just as importantly, they had a respect for the game, and they had a respect for each other. You know, there's a lot of times you can call a ball that might be out, might be in, and you know what? I've never played with any of those competitors, and I've played a lot of them in this room over the years. I've never felt that somebody didn't respect the game and call balls the wrong way, or cheated, as much someone might say. But thank you guys for all your competitiveness. I've played doubles with a lot of you guys over the years, and I love you. Some of those guys, Ray Pascal sitting over there, John Bailey, Greg Fest, Johnny Johnson. It's hard to believe at my age I can still remember all those names. Ted Bailey, Richard Akel, Victor Palafox, Matt Jones, who I saw here earlier, Raul Bermudez, James Strassel, Robert Cox, Randy Jackson, Daryl Snively, and I have to apologize if I've left some people out, but thank you so much. It's been a privilege to play against you and with you and over the span of my tennis career. And the last person I want to say something about is my mixed doubles partner, Janan Trimble. Where are you, Janan? There she is. In the back of the room, you should be front and center. Janan was so good. She was one of those mixed doubles players. You know, guys want to hit it hard, you know, in the open division. They want to hit the girl, you know. They're not afraid, not truly to hit them, but they weren't afraid to hit the ball at them. And Janan was like, okay, you hit it over here. I'm going to show you, I can hit it right back just as hard. She was probably the only one or two women that I knew that would get up to the net and volley. And she was just an amazing partner, and although we played the qualies of the U.S. Open, we ran into one girl that was top 100 in the world, Penny Johnson, and Jean Malin, who was, I think, 138 in the world. And they cleaned our clocks pretty good. But it was a good match. We had good points. But they beat us in straight sets. And I had visions of getting in the main draw with Janan, but I was too much of a load to carry. But we really enjoyed our time together. I also want to thank Steve Duffel. I don't think Steve is here tonight. Steve, are you here? Okay. So Steve was so nice. He was the captain of the Southern intersectional team. And the intersectional team was their seniors from age 45 all the way up to 75, I think. And they picked the 5 best in each category every 5 years. And I said, Steve, when are you going to select me to be on the team? And he said, Mel, I'll select you to be on the team if you're in the top 3 in the nation in the 50s or 55s, one of the two. And he kept his word. So, and we went to, and we played Texas in the finals, and we beat them and won the national intersectional. So that was a great experience. So I appreciate him. And then last but not least, my doubles partner that I've played with in the seniors for many years, Sal Castillo from San Antonio, Texas. Sal has won a gold national championship ball in every category, every section you can imagine on every surface. And he's been a world champion. He took us from we weren't ranked #1 at the end of the year, but we were ranked #1 most of the year in 2015 in our age division, and then we ended the year ranked #3. And I promise it's not because of me. I know how to pick a good partner, and Janan will tell you that. And so I just want to thank him. The other thing I want to talk about is community, and all of us in this room today are connected in some way or another, and mostly that's through tennis, because that's where, or you wouldn't be here tonight. Community's always been important to me, and I always think of the old saying that it's mission first, people always. And as I look at it, I've served on a number of boards, whether it's PA school board or whether it's a church board, but one of the ones I really take a lot of pride in, I was the chairman of the board for several years, was Delta Dental of Arkansas. And I have some Delta Dental board members here. Raise your hands, guys. I want to recognize you. There you go. Some great people that I've been involved with. I stepped off that board recently, and I really miss those people. The other 2 things that I have want to comment on is when I was, there's the sheriff, there he is, okay. Not Sheriff Jason Watson from Arkadelphia and Judge Randy Hill deputized me, and oh gosh, it's been a number of years ago, because I'd come to Arkadelphia a lot, and I still have good friends there and a lot of patients there. And he's here with his wife Amy, who I treated your daughter as well, so, and who just got married. Congratulations again. But Sheriff, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you swearing me in, and I know I've got to get re-sworn in again here pretty soon. We have to do that every once in a while. And I appreciate your work we've done in the community with Arkansas First Lady Susan Hutchinson and with Stephanie Hrayball. I know you and I have raised a lot of money for children's advocacy centers, and I take a lot of pride in that. So thank you for your help with that. I've always liked law enforcement too, so I also served on the FBI Citizens Academy Board. And Maria Hoskins, Maria, raise your hand. Maria was a community outreach specialist for 11 years, and I served on her board there. And so she's already told me to look out for several people in here who've got an FBI bad profile. So, so thank you for allowing me to be on that board. And actually, Maria and our special agent in charge, our new special agent in charge, presented me last year with the Outstanding Leadership Award. So thank you very much. That meant a lot to me. So, and I appreciate it because I enjoy community. And then I think about tennis and these young people again, and I think, the community stuff, all that's great, and what we do in the community and tennis. But, and I think it was John Bailey, I'm not sure, many years ago, you might have brought this up, but it's stuck with me that, that a past study that was done with the United States Tennis Association was these 4 things they found out. They said 48% of kids who play tennis average an A in school. That's pretty remarkable. 81% of those kids attend college. 73% of them never get sent to the principal's office. That counts you out, Austin. And 82% of kids who play tennis volunteer in their communities. That's pretty remarkable. tennis is such a wonderful sport, and it's not what you do just on the court. It's what you do off the court. And and John also mentioned this a little earlier, but yeah, we were playing. He mentioned about the wood rackets and the presses, but I think more importantly were those shorts we wore. What were we thinking? And I was thinking, we had some really, really short shorts. When I woke up this morning, and my wife posted these pictures out, and she surprised me with all this stuff that Austin was talking about. I looked at that and I said, man, this really puts me in the old category. And I thought, okay, now I've had the last 14 months, the last 3 years, I've had a lot of injuries, and I've been on the court, but I hadn't been able to play very well. And I've had 2 back surgeries, and I've had wrist surgery, elbow surgery, arm surgery, and hopefully that's it for a while. But I'm back on the tennis court, and I started feeling pretty good. But I'm going to tell you, I was in Walmart about 2 weeks ago, and a lady who I treated her son, I ran into a lady who I treated her son and daughter about 20 years ago. And we started talking. She said both her son and daughter were now married, and one was a physician. Her son was a physician, and the daughter was an attorney. And she said they both have 2 kids of their own and all that. And she asked me how I was doing. I said, I'm doing great. She says, well, I'm glad you're doing great. She said, I had heard you had expired. And I looked at her, and she saw the puzzled look on my face, and she said, yeah, didn't you expire? And I said, oh, you mean, no, I didn't expire, you mean retire. And then she, when I saw the look on her face and she looked at me, she said, oh my gosh. And I thought I must have been looking pretty bad. And she asked me that when she asked me that question, but it just seemed that she got her wording wrong, so thank goodness. Anyway, following that conversation, I thought I better start enjoying every single day of my life, because tomorrow's no guarantee. And now I keep reminding myself that today is the oldest I've ever been, but the youngest I'll ever be, And so I said, yeah, okay. It didn't make sense to me when I first heard that, and I said, yeah, that is true. And so we've got to live every day, and whether it's through tennis or community or friendships, that's so important. And I think Austin talked a little bit about family sport, and when we were nominated, congratulations to the Huckleberries, by the way, for Family of the Year. When we were nominated for that in 2007, that probably means more to me than almost any other award I can get, because family is so important. And all my brothers and sisters played. We had 6 of us in the family, and we all went to school, on scholarships, or we had funding for, my parents couldn't afford to send us all 6 to college. And that was a dream that my mother had to, when my dad passed away, that all of us would be able to finish college. But all my brothers and sisters not only finished college, they went on, and they all did postgraduate work, and all of them became doctors of some sort, or nurses. Or nurse practitioners. And so, and I think the tennis and the discipline from the tennis and the working hard and the climbing the mountain to see the view has helped us all in doing that. And the one person I wish that was here tonight, other than my son Austin, is my oldest son Taylor, who's also an orthodontist, also a tennis player. Actually, Austin was #1 in his age group for several years, and then he quit tennis suddenly about age 16. But Taylor played tennis for a while, but they've both come back to playing tennis. Taylor is not able to be here tonight. He's actually on a safari that he planned with somebody else. He's in Tanzania, Africa. Did I say that right, mate? He's in Tanzania. But in his place, I am so thrilled, and Sherry and I are so thrilled to have his lovely wife, Maeve, who is when they met, Maeve was a Razorback cheerleader, go Hogs. And she was the one they always used to throw around up on top, and what they call that, the flyer, yeah. So Maeve was the flyer, and now they've given us 2 wonderful granddaughters. So we have our 2 wonderful granddaughters that are here tonight. So, May, Lord, I know you had nothing to do with that, but thank you very much. Wow, that's great. I'm sure they're just bleeding me for some more toys when I get home this evening. But they've learned that from my wife. Okay. Taylor would have been here, but he said he's just went on the safari with one person and hit one of his best friends, and they had planned this before this all came up, and he says, I'm sending my wife and grandkids, and I said, man, that's great, because I'd rather see them than see you anyway. So, it has been great, and I said, tennis has just been, such a great family sport. Not only did our boys play tennis, my brothers and sisters play tennis, now my oldest granddaughter, Noella's playing tennis, and she's being a florist, and so I'm just telling you, it's just been wonderful. It just keeps running down the line. And I'm just about ready to finish, but there's, as tennis players, and I was asked this question tonight by somebody, they said, what was the most disappointing loss that you ever had in your life? And what was the best win you had in your life? And I thought about it for a minute, and I said, the most disappointing loss, Buddy was mentioning this earlier, they had 9-point tiebreakers, first to win 5 points. It was a sudden death. I was in the finals of the Texas State Junior Doubles Championships in Austin, Texas. And we got to 4-all in the third set. My doubles partner was playing the best tennis of the four of us. He was outstanding. Anyway, at 4-all, he missed the easiest overhead and that he could have put away, and somebody on the other team hit it, turned sideways and hit it as a lob over our head for the winner, and we just watched it in slow motion, and they won by 1 point, but that would have been a nice win for us. Now, it turned out a number of years later, probably about 5 years later, that one of the people that beat us ended up being the Australian Open runner-up in singles and the US Open doubles champion. And Buddy and I talked about that. Buddy actually, probably 2 years before, or maybe 3 years before you were in college, make sure I'm saying this, Buddy, you beat him. And you beat him about 3 years before he became the Australian Open singles runner-up. He became, in back-to-back years, he lost to Johan Creek in the finals of the Australian Open. So that's pretty impressive, Buddy. So that's probably my worst loss. Now, or worse or disappointing loss anyway. Now, for my best win, greatest win in my life, well, she's that little blonde lady over there sitting next to my table. Jerry, stand up for a minute. I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but just stand up for a second. Stand up. Stay up there for a minute. Just a minute. I'll let you sit down. I know I'm going to get in trouble. But I just want to say you're the lottery winning of my life. See, she doesn't listen. She sat down anyway. You're the lottery winning of my life, and we've been married 40 years this year, and I just want to say that you continue to make my dreams come true every single day, and you're easily my greatest inspiration. You've traveled with our kids together for lots of tournaments as we worked together during the week seeing patients, and every weekend we were gone, and you never complained. In fact, you and I talked about it, and we made a pact, and we said, we'll never complain again about having to take our kids and driving 8 hours somewhere to play a tennis tournament and eating out all the time and doing all this stuff and doing the traveling and sitting in the hot sun and doing that. She said, we'll never get this time back again, so let's enjoy it while we're with our kids. We don't want to look at it as being hard for us, and you taught me that. And I'm just so blessed to have a wonderful wife, friend, and soulmate to travel through life with. And if there's anybody I want to thank, it's really you. In the 40 years we've been married, you've been just absolutely wonderful as a mother and as a wife and as a person who likes to say add to cart, ding. No, but some of you men know what I mean. But, you know, any of us who have ever played tennis know that, you know, when we're keeping score, you know, we say love 15, love 30 or whatever. Really love means nothing, love means zero. But you taught me that love means everything, and in the end, love wins. And both you and my mom are two of the finest role models that I could have ever hoped for in my life. And my mom couldn't be here tonight because she is having stage 4 breast cancer, and she's going through a lot of things, but I know that she's here in spirit. And speaking of my mom, I'm pretty much convinced that if any of you ever met my mother, you'd automatically become a better person. I promise you that. And she's always taught me to be a man of good character and inspire others in every way a human being can inspire somebody. And yes, it was the big things that showed me how much you care, but more important, it was more importantly the little things that showed me you love me. And in closing, I'd just like to say, she's terrific. In closing, I'd just like to say that I'm so very thankful, incredibly grateful, and remarkably blessed because I've been loved by so many people that have touched my life. Thanks to all of you for this wonderful honor that you bestowed upon both me and Buddy this evening. And Mom, even though you were not able to be here in person, I dedicate my award to you so that it might give you continued strength to win this important 5-set match of your life over the toughest opponent called cancer. And now to finish on a positive note, I raise my glass, I don't have a glass, to toast all of you and hope that you make the rest of your life the best of your life. Thank you.